Your belief right now, unless it's changed in the last 12 hours, is they need to make a move before their game in Philadelphia on Wednesday.
Not necessarily before their game against Philadelphia, but like within the next 2 weeks, it's over. It's over. Or, even if it's, these things don't necessarily happen quickly, it could take up to a month, but this group, it's done. It's done. It's over. That's why I have like a sense of peace. 1920, the 2019-2020 season, there was a stress and an anxiety to it because they started the season with Cody Ceci on the top pair, and we're like, yeah, but they don't actually think this is good. Actually, no. I'm not even starting at the right place. It was, no, but they're going to flip them.
Right.
They're going to flip them.
Yeah.
And then they didn't flip them. Oh, okay, well, you might be okay on the third pair. And then they put them on the top pair. But they're only going to do this for a minute. And then about a month into the season, you're just like, oh, they're just doing this then.
What a bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can I do it?
You can do it at Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook.
Yeah.
Every hockey, football, and basketball game at your fingertips. And the World Cup is almost here. We're going to be talking about some of that throughout the month of November. So excited. You can bet pregame, live and play, or one of our many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. It's Sports Interaction, and it makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Why are we raising the roof? Because you need to join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Go to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please raise the roof and play responsibly.
This is very strange. And I spent the whole season going, Kyle, for God's sake, they're bad. What are you doing? They're bad. This group stinks. What have you done?
And what did they do after the David Ayres game? Because that was that season. What did they do?
They actually went on a pretty hot streak.
Well, no, I wasn't even going to say that. They refused to make the the Zach Bogosian trade. They didn't make any moves at the trade signing. They weren't going to make any moves at the trade deadline. And then they did do well, you're right.
But the difference there is that was them refusing to double down on that group.
Right.
That was them pulling the chute.
That was because they didn't want to tell this team that, hey, we're getting you help.
Yeah.
Because they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, and that's...
Which was, I think, the right move at the time for that.
I do too. But the circumstances are different. There's, all right, screw you guys. We're not going to sell the farm so that we can lose in the first round again. And good, they didn't sell the farm. They just lost in the first round organically.
No, they lost.
Actually, no, they didn't.
They lost in the pre-first round.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're not even going to do that. But the other thing was, at the end of the season, what did Kyle Dubas say about Cody Ceci?
I can't remember. I just remember the mid-season, I'm sick of the referendum on Cody Ceci.
Yeah, so Kyle said at the end of the season that actually what you saw is bullshit, because he made the comment that the defensive metrics were actually really good and really positive on Cody Ceci.
Is that not Justin Hall in a nutshell? A lot of numbers reflect on him favorably. They do. And there are games where I'm like, you know what? I see it. He's brutal, dude. He's brutal. And we've had the conversation many times. You can't get a right-handed defender as good as him for $2 million. Yeah, you can. He's brutal. He's brutal. It's over. Like there's a definitiveness to how bad they are right now. And do I think they're going to play like this forever? No. They look like the worst team in the league on a lot of nights. Like, they're 4-5-1, which is not catastrophic, but they lost to the Coyotes. They lost to the Habs, who are doing... The Habs, someone said the Habs are the top-ranked Canadian team in the Atlantic Division, which is hilarious because the Canadian teams are 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Do you want...
They suck. They lost to the Sharks, and now they lost to the Ducks.
Can I give you the goalies that they've played?
Yep.
Jake Allen, Lindgren, Forsberg, Vejmelka, Wedgwood, Hellebuck, Thompson, Kakinen, Peterson, Gibson. They missed out on playing Kemper, Ottinger, Reimer, and Quick, and they are 31st in 5-on-5 shooting percentage. That's Kevin Papetti today. Cal Peterson's having just a terrible year. Like, we're all talking about Anaheim. Los Angeles factors into this too, right? You can't talk about the Anaheim game without talking about the LA game.
They're not doing well.
They're not.
The Kings overall, but like they kicked the Leafs' ass.
They sure did well against the Leafs, yeah. And so this is the thing. Okay, so you're
just like for as bad as like we think Cal Peterson is, I think Jonathan Quick's been worse. He's like an 870.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So it would have been helpful to face Jonathan.
Oh,
Quick, to be
okay.
And
honest.
out of the 5 losses, well, 6, the Leafs have not lost to a team who made it out of the first round yet.
Yeah.
Have they played a team who made it out of the first round yet?
I don't know.
Washington, Dallas, LA. I don't think so.
No.
Like, not off the top of my head. The Jets.
Mm-mm.
Dude, so I think I might have had it wrong, honestly, in the offseason, because I talked about how the Leafs had a really difficult October. They had a really difficult October in terms of they had a lot of games and not very many nights. They had a long road trip. That sucks. The list of teams,
Not bad.
I'm sorry, you can't leave that month sub 500. You can't. If you have any aspirations of being anything, you can't leave it sub 500, and you did.
And let's call it what it is. It's not 4-5-1. It's 4-6. You're 4-6.
Yeah.
You lost 6 games.
And like, you know, the conversation that Shelgren's not an NHL goalie. Yeah, sure, I agree. He's also the third goalie, and like they fucked this up. Like they really hit with Ilya Samsonov. Great bet. Full marks to Dubas and crew. But they got another injury-prone goalie. They repeated their Mrazek mistake, essentially, with Matt Murray. 1 game, he's gone. And I don't think, like, I said this a couple weeks ago, it's still true. If one of Samsonov or Shelgren gets hurt, they are not eligible to recall a backup. Murray is hurt. Joseph Woll is still hurt. Keith Petruzzelli is not under contract. And Dryden McKay is not under contract. And Dylan Ferguson is not under contract. And they can't sign them because they're at the 50 contract max. If one of their goalies gets hurt, they're fucked.
So this is something we talked about earlier on, and I think it's important. The Leafs went into this season with a lot of this. And if you're listening instead of watching, a lot of finger crossing. What are we crossing our fingers on?
Everything.
We're crossing our fingers on. Let's start from the goaltending. Steve just mentioned it. Matt Murray. We're crossing our fingers on 2 factors. A, that he has a comeback. We saw flashes of it in Ottawa, especially last season, but again injured. And B, part of his thing is injury. Can he stay healthy and can he be good again? Those are 2 major. We're crossing our fingers there already.
I thought he looked good in the preseason, and his first game wasn't very good. But yeah, I mean, Samsonov's first 2 games weren't very good.
They weren't. And so this is so then what? Let's move to another position. We look at defense. Well, we're crossing our fingers on a few spots there. We're crossing our fingers that Giordano's good. We're crossing our fingers that
He's been fine.
and that's what I mean. So that's a good one. But and Giordano's 39 and carrying a massive load. We're crossing our fingers specifically that Jake Muzzin can still be the Jake Muzzin of even 24 months ago.
He barely even made it out of camp.
And because he's injured.
Yeah. Well,
and then,
don't worry, it's not an injury. It's just something he has to manage. Yeah, that's an injury. That's a chronic injury. That's worse.
Timothy Liljegren, bad luck that he had the what is it called? The stomach thing where you tear your stomach.
Hernia.
Bad luck on the hernia. It happens. But you can't sit here and tell me that Timothy Liljegren is what you're hanging your season on or the reason that your defense stinks.
They're better with him, but like that can't be your missing piece.
And then you're crossing your fingers on
getting Sandin done.
Well, so, yeah, well,
he looks terrible.
I was going to move to the forwards, but yeah, on a defenseman to fill in who missed most of camp, who's a young player, and he's looked terrible. And then you go into the top 12, right? You go into your forwards. You're crossing your fingers essentially that 7 of those guys are going to figure it out. You already know Bunting, Matthews, Marner eventually is going to click. You know Tavares, Nylander works, and they've been the best. They've been the best 2 players on the Leafs this year. Then you've never found a spot for Kerfoot. You've signed Yarncroke to a 4-year contract.
We're done there.
To a modified no trade clause, by the way, each year. Okay,
he might end up getting traded, honestly.
And then you got Obey Kubel. You got Zach Aston Reese.
Waste of a signing.
And these are guys that you're hoping come in and provide value. And it's funny to say, but not only can they not score like Jason Spezza, they're also not providing any of the grit of Jason Spezza.
There was a I'm gonna do the biggest air quotes ever hit last night from Zach Aston Reese, where I was like, please get off my hockey team. Like, it was just the gentlest, most feeble hunk of shit. Take off your skates, hang up the jersey, get off my hockey team.
Now,
like, if you're on the fourth
what was
line,
wrong with the hit?
it was a muffin.
Oh, it was just like
He
a
let
bounce?
up on the thing. And there was no reason to. If you're on the fourth line and your name is Zach Aston Reese, you got one job. You got one job. You go out there, you hustle, you dig, you hit.
Be a pain in the ass to play
Be a
against.
pain in the ass.
Yeah. So,
And him and Obey Kubel have just been muffin merchants.
and a lot of people are saying this, and it's correct numbers wise. If Matthews had been scoring at a normal pace, Marner had been scoring at a normal pace, the numbers say very likely that the Leafs would have picked up 2 more wins in October.
Yep. And they would have had the exact same issues.
And this is the thing. 2 more wins still isn't great.
They'd be
That's 6-4 instead of 4-6. It's not great. And so we're crossing our fingers that a lot of things are going to go right. And these are key pieces. Goaltending, one of your major defensemen. We had a big decision to make on Jake Muzzin. Well, they didn't make one. And now the decision's been made for them.
Kerfoot.
And so now we look at this team, and they're going to go play Philadelphia. And
Who's going to outwork them?
We've given Torch shit before. The Flyers haven't looked this good since pre-pandemic.
Dude, I feel like, listen, I've given the Flyers shit and they've deserved every bit of it. And I don't feel bad for any of my cold takes when it comes to the Flyers because their fans agreed with every word of it. But John Tortorella usually is able to do 2 things. He gets your team to work extremely hard, and he just blows some sort of magical fairy dust into the face of every goalie who plays under him.
Well, it's because they have strong defensive systems.
Yeah.
They play good defense. Torts, you're going to play defense. The only place it hasn't worked, honestly, and I made fun of him mercilessly for this, is Vancouver.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
And I don't love his coaching style some of the time.
Yeah.
But it works.
He's got a brand.
Sure.
All right.
And so let's go back to last night's game.
The Leafs are going to win on Wednesday, by the way.
You think so?
They always do. Like, that's the perfect game that they win.
Yeah, at home against Philadelphia. What a fucking hero's welcome.
Yeah, they're gonna wake up for that game and they're gonna win it.